tracks play. Let's do this.
I'm one leg of the table. I'm design. I'll make it look great. I need marketing in there to tell me how they're going to sell it. I need operations in there to tell me how they're going to run that room and how it's going to operate and how they could service it, both service the customer and service a lot of the back of house stuff so everything seems seamless, like a great Wynn property would. And then what's the product? What are we selling? You know, when you mention a Wynn property, I can never remember ever walking in there and not having great food in a great environment served by a wonderful person. And then everything is just seamless. And then I go to dinner at another casino, the four of us will go and your drink is terrible. My appetizer is unedible. His dinner is rancid. Nothing works right. And a lot goes into that in the initial upfront planning of where is the food coming from, how far is it away, how's the employees trained. I always, sometimes I'll get hey, Paul, can you design a nightclub? And in the back of my mind, I'm like, can you even operate one? Because it's a heck of a lot easier for me to design a great looking nightclub than it is to operate it. Those are challenges. How are you selling it? How are you marketing it? Competitive environments is 10 nightclubs. Why is this one going to be the one to go to? Just to use that as an excuse, as an example, excuse me. But, getting back to it's tough sometimes when I'm in a room with a strong leader and weak people around him, it becomes a little bit difficult. I've had people that didn't have the best taste. That's very, very difficult. I can't fight with them too much. Otherwise, it just doesn't go well. Others are just a professional team. And as I said, they'll go around the room. Is this meeting all your demands? And I mean, I've been in meetings with housekeeping, with surveillance, and then, levels above them. And everybody was chiming in on, this is the right solution. And that's when I deliver the best product. And as I said, it's a four-legged table. With one of those legs not there, it's going to fall apart. It's not going to be successful. And to be associated with a casino that is not successful is not a good thing for any of us in our industry. And all of us in all the positions we each have. That's a terrible thing because we're all going to take some sort of the blame on why the place is not successful.
Yeah.
Paul, I've seen so many changes in the last few decades. Remember, the casinos have the classic look. There was a classic era of the casinos, and everybody mostly went with a similar design of a casino until Wynn came along and started changing things, and a lot of things started disappearing. I grew up with in the gaming industry was the mirrors. And lately I've seen like mirrors are disappearing. It's coming to a more modern look. There is a functionality to the mirrors. Originally there were two ways, so the people on the catwalk could see through, but we, the operation people, could go to the end of the pit and look up at the mirrors and see the table at the end without bothering anybody or running a card counter or things of that sort. Is there a reason why the mirrors are disappearing from casinos?
Asians are not crazy about mirrors and seeing themselves in the mirrors, so therefore that becomes problematic. And I think everybody, I don't care if you're a regional casino in Mississippi, obviously down in Florida, they're attracting a tremendous amount of Asian customers to the Hard Rock property. So nobody wants to offend that customer. It creates problems for me because I love sparkle and reflectivity. I'm like a moth.
Yes.
I just need to go to the light. I'm pretty simple that
Somebody
way.
gives you space too.
Yeah, I actually looked at Playboy just for the images, kind of crazy. But So things like reflectivity on mirrors and stuff was very, very important to me. So I got to shrink mirrors, I got to bevel mirrors, I got to do different things to kind of still get that reflection. It's very funny to me, if any of you have been to Macau. Grand Lisboa is a very ornate, over the top, some people would say gaudy casino. Wynn, of course, is classic and sophisticated and elegant. But if you look at both those properties, lots of reflectivity, lots of sparkle, visual stimulation, tremendous amount. Bruce, I think you mentioned before, no, Miguel did, after the third trip, you don't notice what's around you. I always have these people saying, oh my God, this carpet needs to be perfect. I'm like, well, do you remember the carpet at the Grand Lisboa? No. I said, because you've never seen it, because there's like 10,000 people on it. You don't even know what it looks like. You can't see it. So
that's true.
What are we focusing in on, and how are we spending the right effort on what we're spending money on? I mean, everything's expensive to design and do. Are we spending the money effectively? But the mirrors have been an issue over the years, so we try to get away with it different ways, because the casinos have to be visually stimulating. Both those casinos, as I said, the Grand Lisboa Wynn, completely different. But both, you walk into them and they feel crowded, they feel warm and inviting and exciting. And the minute I walk through the door, we're all over 30 now, except Hina, and we're all trying to. You got to go back to when you first walked into a casino, and what was it like? When the casinos I first went to, living in New York, were in New Jersey, and hearing the sound and seeing the lights and parking in the parking garage and getting more and more excited as you got closer to the property. And then finally you enter in, and oh my God, it was the greatest feeling to me. I was done at that point. I was probably 18, 19 when I started sneaking into them. I was done. I knew that was it for me. I knew what I was doing the rest of my life. And but you always got to remember that. What's it like to gamble? So, you brought up a great thing. Every one of those guys you spoke about at MGM, Jim Allen, also at Hard Rock, these are guys that started out at the bottom and worked their way up. They were involved with that thing from the beginning. I've worked at other casinos where they keep bringing in a lot of
the bean counters and stuff. Yeah.
A lot of people from some of the finer.
Don't get us started. Don't get us started, because we got some things to talk about. So
and none of them have ever gambled, and they have no idea what it's like. And they just don't understand anything about it. And that goes past that. I'm gambling, whether I win or lose. I'm going to break for dinner. Well, what's that restaurant like? Is it going to keep my excitement going? So I want to eat and run back out and gamble. Is it a great place to celebrate? Everything works hand in hand. Let's catch a drink at the bar. I don't want to go to a bar that's a dead bar with jazz music. I'm going to kill myself. I want to go someplace that's upbeat and fun and exciting. I want to go to a restaurant that is fun and exciting. You don't want to suck the energy out of me. Then I'm like, well, I'm losing. Why should I go back to the casino? I used to love going to Atlantic City, and I would get on the elevators, and you're talking about a bunch of New Yorkers in New Jersey. I'm from New York, so I'll put my hand on that. So, these are the people that boo Santa Claus at a football game. But you get on an elevator with them, and I'm like, hey, folks, how you doing? How you doing tonight? Well, we're not doing too good. We lost a little bit, but we're having fun. We had a great dinner, and we won 2 weeks ago. That's the greatest thing you could have a customer say. Instead of sitting there and feeling the experience was horrible, they got ripped off, nobody took care of them. It's a problem nowadays. Again, we've been around a long time. So in the past, they had a better relationship with people like yourself, taking care of them, knowing them. I used to see a maitre d' in a hotel room, in a steakhouse, that knew the kids, what college they were going to. It was just phenomenal. Who doesn't want to go to a place, where everybody knows your name and everybody welcomes you in? And I think we're losing that in a lot of ways. And that's the hardest part about it, because that's why that loyalty is why you're going there. You want that little bit of love. It's not always going to be a great movie, or it's not always going to be a great gaming experience. But you still want to walk out with a positive feeling from that entertainment, that hour and a half, 2 hours worth of entertainment.
And that's why you're so successful, Paul.
Well, everybody on this call is very successful.
Those are great points that you brought up, because they're not necessarily from an architecture point of view. That was from, you're 18 years old going into the casino, the excitement. I remember my first time going in. I think it was me. My first time I got out of the military, I was working in the heavy equipment business, and I was an operator, and my mother worked not nearby Atlantic City, and she got into the industry. So when I would go up to visit on Sunday to get my macaroni and cheese and all that stuff, she would break out the chips because she worked in the case. And she had arthritis, so her fingers were all bent up and everything. And so she would show me, Bruce, they had these chips, and the dealers cut the chips like this, and they do this. And so I went to resorts. I walked in there and I saw just the smell, and the guys had perms, and I saw guys that when I left before I went into the military that were working at McDonald's, and then when I walked in there at years later, 7, 8 years later or so forth, they're wearing suits and ties and diamond rings and gold chains and stuff. And I didn't like the gold chains too much, but but they had the pinky rings, and everything. Everybody looked like Dean Martin. And Frank Sinatra, and it just had that movie look, And I said, man, this is me right here. Oh, this is me.
Yeah.
I'm going back to smelling trash up at the landfill down in Swainton. I come in there, and then it's air conditioning in the summer and heat in the winter, and I says, I'm smelling perfume and stuff. Man, it was just exciting. And so those things are still attractive. It's human nature.
Yeah.
And those points and attributes are the things, although the mentalities have changed and the generations have changed, but basically those things don't change,
Yeah.
And so when it comes to architecture, what do you see moving forward? And I thought for a minute when Miguel goes back to that question about building properties that sort of blend in with the culture, the property that I had up on the screen, it was, I think you said it was for the Philippines or something. Well, it wouldn't fit here. It wouldn't fit here in Punta Cana on the island,
Yeah.
But what do you see the changes going in the future with some of these structures, and not necessarily casinos, but if it is casino, if you want to bring up that point, that would be cool. What do you see in the future with architecture and entertainment?
I think that's the hardest part, because we're all working in very competitive environments. Gaming is everywhere. We keep talking about Atlantic City and Nevada for the longest time, Las Vegas. That was it. So it's changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is we've lost that touch with the customer. And I think people have lost a little bit of the reason you go on vacation, whether it be to a casino or to another property, a vacation resort, is the escape. How do I escape from my life? And life keeps getting more difficult for us in many, many aspects. So I really, people are dying for that week or two off that they get a year. How are we making it special? And I think we've gotten a little bit too corporate and branded and homogenized in all industries. Go to any city, every single street corner has a drugstore, a bank, and a Starbucks, if it's valuable real estate. So we've lost that mom and pop type of places that we all grew up with in cities. Great mom and pop restaurants in Atlantic City, since we've all been there. Same thing in Vegas, but they're all closing. So how do you offer something different? How do you give them something new and exciting? And as architects, we're always trying to do that. I know my competition does it just as much as I do. And then you see a new property open up in various different places across the country, and you're like, wow, they didn't really do anything different. Yes, checked off the box of nice restaurants, convention space. Yes, we'll do theaters, but there's not, and the essence isn't as strong as it should be. And the offerings aren't that much different. Vegas, we seem to have done amazingly well with sports, and now very high-end entertainment residencies that are coming. But we still need to keep pushing it, and we still need to keep taking it further than that. And that's the stuff that a lot of people don't want to. A lot of executives don't want to put their name on something, and if it doesn't work out, they're going to probably lose their job. So people are much safer with their decision making. I mean, that stadium you're showing on the screen is just spectacular. And I just got back from Dubai last year, and my God, I've never seen anything like it. But Hina, when you mentioned that whole group of people, when you guys were redoing MGM, you redefined gaming. I mean, excuse me, you redefined restaurants, you redefined lounges and bars. I would go to those properties just to see what you were doing. And it took dining and design and everything so far. You were doing cooking in the out in the front. You were doing tableside stuff that was just phenomenal. And then you were pushing design, of course. We were all pushing each other to come up with something new and great and creative. But we're really not doing that anymore. You're just like, okay, bring in the celebrity chef. It's got his name on it, and we're going to do fine. And then I see, a $20 million ad campaign behind Gordon Ramsay. And I'm like, what if you spent that $20 million in buses going up and down the strip and everything and put it behind a new chef and came up like you used to do with a really creative looking restaurant that offered different things? It would be great. Michael Mina had a chicken pot pie. Excuse me, it was a crab pot pie with lobster. And like the claws were coming out. You had to clear the room just to get it to the table. Who's not going to order that?
Yeah.
So we've lost so much of that.
Didn't Joe Jimenez,
restaurants is a minor thing.
Didn't Joe Jimenez mention the same thing, Miguel, on his podcast about, they're quick to throw in 20 million or whatever in the celebrity chef and put these for that same example you just now said, Paul, in a heartbeat. But once again, I'm the best quarterback, but I've never been a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? I'm the best race car driver, but never drove. I don't even drive fast. But so and those are some great points, and I love it. And that stadium, I was going to ask you when I pulled that up. Have you ever designed anything like a stadium and like the SoFi? And what's the name of the stadium there in Las Vegas now? The Raiders
Allegiant Stadium, spectacular.
It's
beautiful,
unbelievable. Have you designed any stadiums yet?
No, I haven't done anything to that scale. We were working on some exciting horse track type stuff that had stadium seating and some hotel towers involved. But we are just trying to keep pushing it. And in some fields, obviously, the NFL is really pushing the architects and the owners to spend the extra money and come up with something great. Both those stadiums are spectacular looking. You want to do that, but we're not doing that right now in our industry. We did it for a time. We've kind of lost it a little bit, and it scares me a little bit. The other thing that scares me, like we spoke about, that personal touch that I know all three of you built your careers on. You start to lose all of that. Where's my connection to the customer? Why are they visiting my property? We've all been to a restaurant. We know the waiter, and we'll go just because the waiter makes us feel great.
I love that.
Buys us a cup of coffee, and then you go there the next time, and he's not there or she's not there, and you're like, yeah, it just wasn't that good today.
With the things that you were talking about, do you feel that we can get it back? Or do you feel that because of the way that the economy is and everything else like that we're just going to get further and further away? And because of the millennials, everything is electronic, everything is their phone, right? So that's the personal touch right here is casinos are starting to, what can we do on their phone? It's like, hold on a minute. You're leaving out the table games dealer. You're leaving out the slot attendants. That's their livelihood. So if you take everything and put it on your phone, you have no interaction at all whatsoever, except for, congratulations, you hit a jackpot, but it's going to be credited to your meter or it's going to be sent to your phone. So, okay, right? Yeah. Right. So, what do you find that?
A couple of questions you had in there. Well, first off, I think I do work for a few individuals that are running these corporations, and they are more open to doing different things. They have a better relationship with their customers. I think they understand it a little bit more. There's that handful of people that are doing that. I think also in some corporations where you have a strong leader like Mr. Allen, he can bring that to the table and keep that at the forefront of people's minds. But it's going to be those executives that end up doing that. I happened to be eating at a restaurant the other day, and George Maloof was in there. And as I'm with the guest I was with, I kept looking at him and thinking, that's the last creative guy that did anything in Las Vegas. Remember, he brought tattoo parlors, palm readers, again, reinvented some dining and nightclubs.
Bowling alleys in the suite. So
yeah, basketball in his suites.
Yeah.
And I had to take the opportunity because I went there a lot when I was in my 30s, and that casino had a lot to do with my married life, with my friends. We were all there. That impacted my life extraordinarily. And I went up to him at the end, when he was leaving, I said, George, I just want to tell you, Jay Sarno, you're the last one. You were our Jay Sarno. You were our last hope. You were our Steve Wynn. You were our Steve Wynn of our generation. I don't know where the next one comes from, and even if there's room for a next one in this world. But you made our lives so much better. The impact you had on us and what you did there, the Playboy Club, other things, was just phenomenal. And and to segue it into your next thing, it was extremely experiential. Everything you did in there was in the moment, having a blast. And another reason why it was so successful was because there were no cell phones. And I couldn't take a picture of us misbehaving, doing things we shouldn't be doing, and having a record of it. So there is that aspect, but it was very experiential. And nowadays, Hina, you brought up the phone. I go to nightclubs, I go to all these things just to see them. I'm way too old now. And I'm just looking around going, why are these people here? And all they're doing is look at me. I'm in the nightclub. My life is better than yours. I'm at Gordon Ramsay. My life is great. Yours isn't. And are you actually experiencing it? Did you taste the food? Because you're writing about it. You've taken 10 pictures of it, but did you taste it? What are you doing in this nightclub? Are you enjoying it? Are you looking around? Are you experiencing it? Are you escaping it? Escapism. I'm just struggling with it on what these young people, they don't have loyalty. All the hotel companies, the airlines have realized the younger kids don't believe in loyalty. So we got to break through and figure out how to touch them and how to grab them and make sure that they understand what they're seeing and what they're doing and having fun doing it, other than checking off a box. I ate here, I visited there, and I'm mailing it in now.
But that's their time. And that's just part of change. And all of you old people that I'm looking at right now, you old fogies, and talking about, no, you're oldies, you're old buddy duddies talking like this here. Let them be, and just work around it. Adjust, make adjustments. And I'm old enough to tell you that, you old people, that they probably haven't done what Paul said that we have done. We walked, in the shoes of a dealer, because I am a dealer. You walked in the shoes of a change attendant, but now there are people who are in decision-making positions that have never, and they don't know. And my point is that there are players who are, everybody that's a customer is a customer, whether they're big dollar whale or mom and pop, whatever, with the quarters and nickels and whatever in the slot machine. But everybody has their value. But Miguel has seen, and you too, Hina, where you have a strong, significant player and the VP or the director doesn't even come out to introduce himself, to say hello, I'm welcome, and to forge a relationship with them. You can read the old books. One of the biggest things that people will always love was to know the bosses, especially the significant players, to know who the bosses were and to have a relationship with them. And that's how it was when you saw Bucky Howard on the floor and you saw Terry Landy on the floor and Danny Wade and these guys at MGM and all of these guys they knew the customers. They were looking dapper, and Alex Yamanizian, then not Alex, it pronounced, correct me, Miguel, you always do. No, Alex Yamanizian from MGM. Yamanizian, the Armenian guy, yeah. Dapper is whatever, right out of Hollywood, right? But he knew the customers, and the customers knew who they were. You don't see that anymore. Now I'm talking like an old fuddy duddy. Now I'm talking back in my day, you know. So that was my point, and that's really lost in the industry, that element of the industry and that connection, you know. So all that circles around the architecture and the design, where there's a non-human, but there's a connection with the art. Is that correct, Paul?
Yeah, I think everybody needs to feel comfortable. It's an interesting question to ask yourself. If you were going to recommend somebody go to Las Vegas and they were to visit 4 or 5 properties, what would they be? Obviously, I love Wynn. It's a beautiful property. Everything about the service and operations is flawless. But I can't afford to stay there. I can't afford to eat 3 meals there. There's a lot of things you can't afford to do at some of the nicer properties. But people are at all different levels and they go to all different casinos. So what would you end up telling them to go to? One thing I love is if you go to the Venetian, you know, you have a food court there. You have 5-star plus dining. You have a lot of range of things. Wynn is obviously more focused at the top line and that 5-star type of player and experience, 5-star plus. And then Venetian does offer that, but it also less expensive things to do. But what are you really telling people to go to?
But I did that. I'll ask them. I say, okay, why are you going to Vegas? And what is it that you're looking for? And I'll give them, because it's just like what you said. Venetian has this, and this. Wynn has this, right? So for me, it's like, if this is your first time, go to all of them. And you experience it yourself, right? Walk that strip, get in there and see which one that you would like. Because what I would like and what you're like, 2 different things.
Yeah, but there's some that even transcend that. You know, New York happens to be a really fun place. It's obviously not 5-star, but you know, it has a piano lounge. It has a lot of things there that even if you're maybe a Wynn customer, there's still some fun things you could find in there that'll put a smile on your face.
Yeah, right. Paul, what project do you have coming up that you would like to talk about, or is there something that's exciting that you can talk about?
We're actually working on a great project down in Louisville, Kentucky for the Churchill Downs Corporation, and it'll be a casino that took over an old bank, and it'll be right in the middle of Louisville, Kentucky. And
so that's you. You're doing that.
Yes, I'm working on that project.
Very cool. Yay.
Yeah. It's going to be a really great project. It's going to be a fun project. We're really focusing a lot of things. We got a 6-foot replica of the Kentucky Derby trophy, which you could take a picture of. We have a great speakeasy, cigar bar, wine bar. We have a charcuterie wine bar, a little more feminine, while the cigar bar and bourbon bar is a little more masculine. We have some outdoor patios that you could smoke on that are fabulous. So having a lot of fun doing that project. It's a little bit of a Swiss watch, fitting everything in there. But it's been a lot of fun and it's something different. It's going to be an urban casino. It has to catch the attention of tourists just as much as locals, you know, going down there, and we want to be a part of that. So you always have to think about, how am I selling this? You know, what's bringing people into the property? What does this town not have that we can give them besides just, you know, gaming machines and things like that? So great people I'm working with there. It's a great corporation. The people are wonderful and really down to earth, really enjoyable to work with.
What is the company?
It's Churchill Downs. The
racetrack.
The racetrack. So they're just great people. It's you know, again, we're a little older. I enjoy working with people. I enjoy having a relationship with these people and try to create something great. Constantly think about what we're doing, challenging ourselves. Is this the right thing? Is this going to attract the people? And it's been a great process. Been an open design process. Been real fun with it.
I've had the opportunity to work with some of the executives there, and they are, and I opened one of their Churchill Downs, you know, properties, and I am telling you, it will bring such an upliftment to the downtown Louisville area. I mean, there were some areas that you go, oh yeah, I'm not walking there. And then there are some areas that, yes, I am, right? And these little mom and pop stores with seafood and lobster. And I walked in like, hi, like, yay, right? So that's going to be such a great for that city.
Awesome. All the luck. I wish you all the luck.
Thank you. And
absolutely.
And you know as much as it's a 145-year-old race to see the history of that company and the track and everything that went on there, and the various people throughout the years. You have pictures of Babe Ruth, the greatest player of his generation, and now you have Tom Brady, you have Nixon at visiting the property, you have Trump visiting it. It's just everything. So many things have revolved around that. It's just the history of it is absolutely fascinating.
And it's authentic. It's not going to change.
Yes.
It's
That
not
you're
going to
taking
change.
that building down in downtown, and I know exactly which building that you know that you're talking about in the area, and it's just I am very excited. I didn't know that was your project. I'm so excited about that.
Are you guys doing some tech down there? You can't say. Answer me right now. I want answers. You're on this podcast. You guys, it's open here. Okay.
It's between Paul and myself.
Hey, Paul, listen, is there a way that people what's the best way that people can get information about your business? And so I had the website here. Let me see if I can pull it back up here. So what is it next? It is Westar.com.
Right there in the middle, West Architects. Yep. WAGNarchitects.com. Obviously, we're all in a very private business. Not everything we do can be shown on the computer. We all work on a lot of very private spaces that rooms, suites, and gaming rooms, and certain parts of restaurants that we can't show. So the website shows a glimpse of what we've done, but we've done a lot more than that. And I love casino design. I love casinos. I love entertainment architecture. We've done a lot of fun retail stores and a lot of other things that really, it's a great field. And helping people to escape for a few hours, escape their lives is, I don't know, to me, there's nothing ever been better.
Fantastic.
Great.
Fantastic.
Very cool. Very cool.
Well, Paul, thank you so much for being with us today. I tell you what, and we hope that you had as much fun as we did, and was actually, it's always refreshing to confirm some of the personal thoughts that we have, that we all have different thoughts about different things. But when we speak to people such as you, with all the experience that you have and foresight, that it kind of confirms that, wow, I'm not the only one thinking like that. It's just, so it gives, it just confirms that we're on the right track, and that we're not a lost soul out here in an island. And I guess we're all on an island, but the Dominican Republic. So hopefully we'll still be working on that project that we started on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
And
it'll be a blast to do it together. So.
Yeah. So it's been
a pleasure.
And when you want to come back and hang out with us, please, we hope that you don't say, wow, I had a terrible time with these guys. I know you won't say it to our face, but we know where you are.
This has been a blast. It's been great, and it's amazing. We've all been in the industry a long time, and how our paths intertwine over the years. You might not realize it, but we've all walked the same travels, same paths. It's been great.
When I walk into Paul, I go, I know him.
Yeah.
You know him.
It's a great pleasure to have you with us, Paul.
Yes.
Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us a few minutes. We really, really enjoyed it. It was enlightening. This is a topic that doesn't come along very often, but it's highly important. And we thought our audience should know about how things get started before the first dice get thrown and the first cards get dealt out of the shoe. And you are the beginning of the project.
Oh, thank you. It's really been great. I really enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, and if you have colleagues or associates out there that you think that would be interesting topics, pieces that come on our podcast, send them our way. We love to talk with them.
Please, please,
absolutely.
And if we can ever help out with something, and we don't need jobs, but we were looking for jobs. We're always looking for money. So if you want to help us, you want to hire us, I already
told you I'm not the government. I don't just hand stuff
out. Did you guys see? He said he was coming on the podcast. He'll be here in a minute. He was signing some papers. I sent him back an email. I said, "Why you're signing stuff? Sign some checks, will you?" He says, "I'm not the government." Thanks so much, Paul.
Thank you,
Thank
Paul.
You. Have a great
pleasure, Paul.
Aloha Thursday.
Have a great time with the equestrians.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. Have
Take
a
care,
great day.
Paul.
All right,
Good
man.
seeing you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Very
Okay.
interesting, huh? Very interesting.
Yes.
We all been in the gaming industry for such a long time, and I've been involved with architects before. I'm sure you have, but
No, I have not.
people don't know what entails uh, to be at the beginning of a project and have the architect come to you and say, what would you like me to do that would help your operation? That is great to have, because sometimes you get into a place that is, they bring you in. I opened many properties in Atlantic City and other places that they brought me in a month before they opened the property. So, oh yeah, this is beautiful, but there was
Already
nothing
done.
else I could do. It's done.
Right.
It's done.
Right.
Then I figure out that this doesn't work and this doesn't work, and you got to tell somebody, and eventually something will get fixed or something will be done about it. But if you have the opportunity to do it right from the beginning with a guy like Paul that would come to you and says, tell me what your needs are and how can I make it better for you to run the operation, that is gold.
Right. Right. It is. When he asks what they're doing now, and then what's your vision, and then how can I bring that vision to fruition?
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
That is operational, sensual, right? So that people, when they go, oh, that awe moment, right? But, and even to include the back of the house, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's important. That's important too.
Well,
That's important too.
that's what experience brings.
Yeah.
Right. That's what experience brings. So he's has that experience, and which is great. And so we hope that we've seen his work. We had an opportunity to see it, and we've had an opportunity to actually work with him briefly on a project and how he partners with the operators to make the design. So the only thing I ever was part of designing was moving boxes around in the card and dice room, so that's my experience. So
but that resonates in today's world. A lot of us vendors, right? For those who are, we're now vendors, right? Consulting group, for you guys. But it is so important that when we are consulting and when we are the vendors and we are selling our product or presenting our product, I want them to know that I have been in the industry. I understand what you're going through. I see everything that has been, I've been there, done that, the do's and the don'ts, right?
Objectively.
So, right. To me, that is so important to have that vendor is now your partner because they have been in the industry. I have seen so many vendors out there. They go, oh yeah, you need this. And let us tell you why you need this. And versus, why don't we tell you what we, what we do?
Let me tell you what I need.
Yes, absolutely.
What I can, how much money I have to buy it.
Yes.
Because as you say, a vendor could come in, you need this. Yeah, but it costs you $300,000. I only got 50.
Exactly. So, and have the technology or have the product and services benefit not just the high roller, but the one that comes in and only gambles maybe $100 and goes home. Right.
And the employee that is in between them.
Yeah. Remember the slot attendant. If you do everything electronically, if you do everything by the phone, your slot attendant won't buy in because that went their tip.
That is happening at one of the latest properties to have opened in Las Vegas recently. That a lot of people are leaving because they're not making enough money.
Because they have the apps and things.
Correct.
Yeah, everything, when the customer hits
cashless
the jackpot,
and so
there
forth.
is no interaction.
Right.
Therefore, you don't come in and you hand them the money and then the guy takes $100 bill, here, this is for you. That doesn't happen anymore. So they got to look for something else.
Exactly.
So those are things that we as operators, we have to look at when we're building a property or when we're designing a property or when we are upgrading equipment.
Man, doesn't that technology look great in the showroom? It does.
It does.
It does.
Oh my gosh.
It does. But it takes away from the experience of having the interaction with the employee, with the customer. And especially when you're upgrading, because remember, this customer knows this employee for years. And as Paul said, and I have experience, he knows the kids' names of that employee, where they go to school. Oh, they're in college now, and they know that. So you take away that, it's bad for everybody, because now this guy, he doesn't make enough money. He's got to go, or you're going to lay him off because you don't need him. And then now the customer doesn't have that interaction anymore. Says, what happened with Miguel? Where is Miguel?
Are you reading my mind? Because I was just thinking about that yesterday. I'm walking by La Cava, and you know my guy Miguel.
Yeah.
I was walking by, and I'm walking past. I'm going down to the drugstore, and as I'm walking past, Mr. Senor Blues, and he comes out and he hugs me and everything. And I was walking back home, and I'm saying to myself, man, if Miguel wasn't there, I probably wouldn't go there that much.
Correct.
Because I go there, I bring
to interact with the guy.
I bring my friends there, my family there right away. Mr. Bruce, and he brings everybody else. And it looks like I'm the mayor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
he knows what you want. He knows what you like.
Yeah.
So there is already a bond between you and Miguel. And the day Miguel is not there, as you say, he says, why do I go there?
Yeah.
You know, it's not the same anymore. And we have to be, as operators, we have to be very careful when we do upgrades and changes, that we don't change too much. I mean, is the technology good? Yes. Can the technology speed up things? Yes. But also you got to look at the repercussions that technology can bring. And you have to be cognizant of that.
Yeah. Does the technology fit your customers?
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
right? So is that baby boomer, or what I call the young at heart group, are they able to use it without any training? Because when you do upgrades in technology, who is going to sit with them at the slot machine or at the table game
to explain
and
it
take the time, take the time to explain it, right? Well, they say, well, you know, we give them instructions, or they can go to the web and they can do it.
Yeah. You download
We
the
all
app.
know,
It's
right?
It's
None of our-
self-explanatory. It's
Right. None of
self-explanatory.
our customers read. You know, I don't read. If I see something like, okay, right, and it's like, why isn't this working? And I look up like, oh, sorry, you know, and I push the button that I'm supposed to push. But it's not. I don't want to say that our customers, you know, can't read or don't read. They just don't.
Give me a 3-reel slot machine, and I'm happy. You know, don't give me all those lines and stuff. Too complicated.
It's different things. I mean, I know a customer in South America that this guy, he would wire $500,000 to play slot machines. But, you know, we had Tito, we had everything. He didn't like credits. He would sign a marker. They would bring him the cash from the cage. And he had one of the waitresses, a particular waitress, to feed the money in the machine while he was drinking coffee. That's what he enjoyed.
That's
customer service.
That's a perk.
Yeah, that's what he enjoyed. The day you take it out, he says, well, you can't do that anymore. Well, I'll bring you a ticket and you slide it in the machine and you're in business. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. You got to give him what he wants.
Yeah.
You know, one time that guy told me, you know, this is great, but it would be better if the stand for the slot machine would come out a little bit, because then I can put up my foot there while I'm hitting the button. Okay. The next time he came, they were all like that. All the machines
If I had a casino and a guy like he was a high-end customer like that, and if he likes fishing, I'm going to put a little aquarium. I'm gonna put an aquarium, put some fish in there, and give him a pole. Somebody's gonna clean the fish. Somebody's gonna steal my idea. But anyway, guys, listen, this was a great podcast. We had a great time.
It was wonderful.
Paul Heretakis, and all of us, I think we all did a great job with getting the conversation and everything. And I'm sorry, I was just like breaking your stones there. I hope you don't take any to that.
I don't take anything. If I did, I go, let me tell you why this is important.
And that's what I was that's why I was trying to get, you know, I thought you were going to come at me. So that's what it's like, well, let me tell you, you know.
Here's why it's important.
That's why it's so great to have you on here with us. So this is I'm loving this, guys. I really am. So Paul Heretakis for Westar Architecture in Las Vegas, Nevada was with us, and we hope that you guys enjoyed it. Share, like, tell your friends. Okay? And we're going to do this again. Hina's going to Hawaii.
I'm going to the Hawaiian Islands.
Hawaii.
With my little
You guys are
All
sick.
right. Have an amazing aloha weekend, everyone.
All right.
Take care, Hina. Enjoy your vacation. man.
Text play.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Happy
Yep.
4th of July. Chex play. Let's do it.
Take care.
Bye.
Ain't no